Welcome back to the European Youth Ultimate Championships 2025. Coming to you live from Trnava in Slovakia. We're in the open division here as Switzerland takes on Israel. Liam Grant alongside John Dock, an Irish combo on air. And we're off to the races straight away with Switzerland coming out on offense. Fantastic ultimate conditions today. Beautiful sun, nice lush grass, and hardly a breeze in the air. It couldn't be better than this, John, could it?
No, this is exactly what you want, and both these teams have had a couple of games to get used to these conditions as well, and I'm expecting a really good start here. Both these teams have had some really tough, close games in the first halves of their games so far, so I expect this one to be very fiery at the start.
Now with Polmeyer, moves it across the field. Stauffer hits the inside shot. They've been doing that a lot. Israel going to force backhand here, and Switzerland capitalizing on his inside shots. Clean hold so far in the opening point of the game. Now lost it over the top, and acres of space. Brilliant clean hold, king things off for Switzerland. I believe that was Frederick Polmeyer, Fred from Bern getting the opening goal.
Yeah, really good start by the Swiss there. They looked a lot like they did yesterday when they played the Czechs. Actually, they beat them on Universe. They came back late, but every point was pretty close to that in tough conditions. So a good hold for them to start, and they've played so far. Yesterday was the Czechs. They came back. I believe it was 13-11 down. They came back to win 14-13, and today they had a game against Romania, and Romania had a pretty good comeback near the end, but in the last few minutes, the Swiss guys were able to keep it ahead and get the job done. With Israel, I was talking to their coach, and it seems basically in every one of their games, their first half has been really tight, and they've kind of struggled a little bit maybe with the depth in the roster, to keep pushing hard in the second half. But I think in the last game against the Czechs, they did make a bit of a comeback late, so I think this could be an interesting one because the Swiss are in a very good position in the group, and Israel don't really have much to lose kind of in this game, so their results are a bit harsh on what I've seen from when they play well. Could maybe be a bit of an upset potentially if Israel can have a strong start and keep it going through to the second half.
Let's see what this Israeli O-line can do now. Very saggy from Switzerland. Kind of a little bit junky look here. Very flat in the handler spots and three mids and a deep. Look here. Very flat in the handler spots and three mids. Slowing Israel down. Wide. Looking safe in the hands. Israel wearing blue. Switzerland wearing white and red. Now with Lior Paz. He's going to have a big role on this side. Coming out of Gavad Ada. And this is the point of this Swiss zone. They're allowing the swing, allows it to go back and forth, but not giving up too many yards. Slowing Israel down, but not stopping them for now. Thomas Moyle. Again, now with Sagi Levi. And what's impressing you with this zone, John?
Yeah, they're just doing a really good job. They've probably seen a lot of the Israel play already, and they're doing a good job containing it. I think it's been a trend at this tournament where, well, as I said, I was just about to say, teams have been struggling to actually break through the zone as Israelis kind of get their pass through it. But teams seem very happy to let the other teams swing the disc over and back, and I haven't seen too many teams that are actually good at progressing the disc with that. So until there's a bit of an adjustment, I think Swiss would be pretty happy to leave Israel swing the disc back and forth.
It looks like the defense changing now as reached the halfway line, coming in tighter, but Israel exploiting it well. Barnes. And they open up the field, and a clean hold to answer back. Took a lot more passes from Israel, but took the safe option, took the resets, waited for the opening, and good patient offense from Israel overall.
Yeah, again, like I said, they've had some tough results on the scoreboard, but in every game I've seen them in so far, they've had really strong starts to the game, and I think we can expect them to not struggle too much, I think, against the Swiss early in the game based on what I've seen so far. A lot of a lot of experience on the team. A couple of really young players. I thought they actually initially had someone who was 21 years old. I had to have a chat with their coaches before the game to be like, this is a mistake, right? And I got to see the player, and I was pretty happy with the answer that I wasn't risking ruining some player's career. So again, Israeli teams known for being able to work the disc in short spaces and move it quick. I would say if I were to describe them to maybe a more well-known nation, I would say it was a bit of an Italian kind of vibe about how they play. Keep it moving, lots of energy, lots of passion. And with the Swiss yesterday, hard to know what Swiss team's going to show up. They got the win yesterday against the Czechs when it mattered, but I wasn't super impressed by what I saw from them against Romania. And perhaps Israel, strong start, known in every game. If they can keep it going, they can get right into this.
That's a break to pull from Israel. No turnovers in the game so far. Now with Baumgartner. Andre Baumgartner. I think there's a few dynasty players here in the system that go straight for the sugar-coated scuba to open up that zone. Fearless throwing from Switzerland, as is tradition in the country. They're going to unlock defenses with those overhead passes. Now back with Baumgartner again. He's going to be orchestrating the offense. Looking really good so far. Now with Paulmeyer again, they have a good combination. They punch it in. This time it's Dino Stauffer. Trying to figure out as the game goes on, is he corrected to Loritz Stauffer? There's the famed handler from Switzerland. I have a feeling this could be perhaps a child of the famed Swissman.
Yeah, when I've been going through player notes at this tournament so far, I've been seeing so much. And my parents played, both my parents played, not just my parents got me playing it. There's definitely a lot of people in these tournaments that have had parents played. I don't think we've had any that would say their parents played juniors yet. I haven't seen that being said, but a lot of second generation players here, and some players.
I think that's the case with Nino Stauffer, playing with Fine playing Angels Burn. Says he started playing because of his family, but a few ultimate babies cropping up now into the junior divisions. Won't be too long, John, till you have one of your own out here in juniors.
Yeah, maybe. As I was saying earlier, maybe he'll pick a sport where I don't have to pay for him to do it. But
Wait on about it. In 17, 18 years time, we're all gonna be pro, John. Isn't that that's where we're going?
That's where we're being told we're going, maybe. Well, I don't know if anyone's telling us that, but that's where we're hoping we're going. But hard to know now. So going to see if the Swiss decides to come out here with its own again. I'd be surprised if they stuck with it. I don't think that Israel looked like they didn't struggle with it in the last point. Yes, they threw a lot of passes, but there was never any pressure. So maybe a different look here might be needed. Looks like they're going to do it again.
Coming out of that same passive zone look to start things off. Good quick movement. Kaplan getting involved now. And just going over and back like a seesaw now. Israel, and not really looking downfield particularly. Completely different to how Switzerland approached the last point. They went for the overhead straight away. Israel, you don't even really see them looking too far past that initial wall of defense, then threading the needle, doing that very well. As you said, John, liking to play that small ball. Now with Edry. Kaplan goes across. Smooth, clean, silky offense from Israel. Switzerland just hoping to catch them off guard and make them throw a lot of passes, but Israel looking very comfortable doing so. Kaplan getting several touches, go for the give-go and stealing a yard or two here and there. You can see Kaplan wants to make sure the handlers are progressing down the field. Levi. Now it. Again, looking for Barnoy. Bit tighter now. Switzerland, you can see around the halfway mark to transition to a more traditional defense, going a little tighter now, and it gives more joy to Israel, trying to get those give-goes set up. Now the shots in the middle with Moyal. Knocking on the doorstep now, Israel. Again, plenty of passes in this game so far, but no turnover. Who will crack first? Slow and steady wins the race. Kaplan has been asked a lot of, and there it is. The first turn of the game and a massive block from Switzerland. You can see the sideline pumped up right now. Fantastic stuff from them. I think that was number 52, Linus Volger, better known as the Ginger. And goes back to Volger now. Maybe a little foul perhaps called. Don't know if they just accidentally caught him with the disc. First break opportunity of the game. Goes to Switzerland. Let's see what they can do with it. Zimmerman. Beautiful inside shot. Nice high release lefty, and they had a lot of space there, Swiss. Now Volgan high in the stall count. The back is the release valve. That is Zimmerman. Again, nice leading shot. Sol shoots cross field, and there's the first break of the game. And again, Switzerland's so good at those overheads.
Yeah, the wind picking up, confident to throw the hammer there just to make sure of it. Swiss team's well known for their overheads. Very clean defensive hold on their first attempt to get a break by the Swiss. And I think maybe the worst thing about that point for Israel is that it took a bit of a defensive effort after the turnover, and based on the games I've seen from them so far, their strong starts have been what have kind of kept them in the games. And I would almost say if they think there's a chance of getting broken, it's almost the quicker they get broken, the better, because it's going to be very tiring to play the O points and then have to run hard playing the match defense and then go back onto the O again. I don't know if they switched their lines up too much during the points, but their offense has been solid. I would say their defense has actually been what normally impresses me the most, but I think that might also be a factor why they're maybe struggling more in the second half of games, is they put a lot of pressure in on the teams early, and it's very intense, and I think it's just hard to keep that going for an entire game in these conditions. So hopefully they can slot in their next offensive point a bit cleaner, or at least not to have to play so much defense with it.
It looks like Switzerland are going to change up their line, and that was the difficult thing. It was a long offensive possession, turned over the end line, and had to play a lot of defense, so difficult in that situation to send out a similar line. So happy to trust another 7 players with it here. Switzerland keeping some lads out there again. Got Damien with the pull, the burn man, and again Switzerland electing to sag in the lanes and try and slow Israel down. Now with Solan. Going around, Moyal hits the reset, thinks about the deep shot. Instead, nice inside to get some momentum going on the break side. One of the players that did stay out there was Levi, gesticulating where he wants the cutters. Guy Halfin has a touch on the disc. Beautiful continuation flow. Deep shot is there. Shiloh Solan hesitates, wearing an unusual hat, but protecting him from the sunny conditions here in Slovakia. And that was a stall 9 Hope. Stall out being called. Interesting to see what resolution we get here, John.
Yeah, it looked like the receiver maybe had a hand on it. I'm not sure if he was holding it or the contact caused him to drop it. It's pretty close. I'm sure the viewers at home, if they rewind, they'd have a good view. But it's a high stall. It's one of those tricky ones where you're kind of saying, oh, but the throw wasn't great and the stall was high. But it's like, at the end of the day, if the offensive player thinks he can catch it and you cause him to drop it, he's entitled to the call regardless of the circumstances of it. So I think it's just one of those where sometimes just saying contest can be the right one. But it did look like he had a hand on it. Whether it's a strip or a foul, I'm not entirely sure. But there's a potential stall out being called as well. So
looks like it's coming in an 8 as a contested stall out, and very quickly finds the reset this time. But Switzerland really mounting the pressure. Now nice under from Israel. You can see they want to play the small ball. Haven't really thrown a pass more than 20 meters yet. Now here comes the longer shot into traffic. Could go anywhere. And access denied from Switzerland. And you know, Israel have been a loud delegation here at the European Youth Championships, but it's Switzerland getting loud on the sideline right now.
Yeah, unfortunate for the follow-up player, not able to get a hand on it, a good bid, just a bit unlucky.
Might have been a zipper play or something similar from Switzerland. They get momentum downfield. Big fake, I don't think anyone bought on, but there's the shot, and that was underthrown.
There's Alali getting it back there. He's 17, but I think he actually says he coaches in an elementary school, so great to see players at that age coaching. What a huge play here by Halfran, see if it pays off. His receiver's unable to grab it.
Yeah, it's just the pressure mounting in Israel now, trying shots they're not typically used to. Oh, that is a high pass. Not sure if that's going to stay in bounds. Good effort, but I think it was sailing too far.
Yeah, defensive pressure there again. Halfran able to put pressure on that throw after the turnover on his last one. So throws a hook away, gets one back on the next one.
Looks like an injury being called by Israel, and Switzerland are going to bring in a sub as well. Bolger now on. So this is a long point again. Switzerland have had 2 break opportunities. You feel like Israel need to punch this in, or it's going to be a very difficult game for them. A touch again, but Israel living a charmed life. Thinks about the deep shot. You can see Switzerland trying to put a lot of pressure around the disc. Israel get a lot of joy when they get those continuations on the break side. Now with Moyal. Puts it to space. Can he get there? Oh, sensational bid. Puts on his hero's cape and takes flight. That a big moment for Israel.
Yeah, they really needed that one. I think if another break went in there earlier based on the games they've had so far, it would have been a bit of a tough ask to come back. So good to see them holding on to that one and converting it at the second time of asking. And yeah, now they're going to get their chance to get that break back. And again, keeping the energy going is going to be key for them. Like I said, they've always had a strong first half in each game, and it's the second half is usually where they've found their struggles a small bit. So I feel like even though the results on paper would look like this would favor the Swiss, I do think if Israel can keep this close and they can show a bit of the improvement they had in the Czech game, in the last game, that they could cause what people would consider a bit of a shock here, but it wouldn't be that much of a shock to me. They have lots of talented players. A lot of these players are playing multiple years.
That an incredible grab from Israel. And they needed that one. They gave up one break. Can't really afford to give up 2 for this short roster. Want to get the D-line out there. Looking at this group, John, who do you think is going to come out of it?
It's a bit of a crazy group. Come out of it in the sense of, well, the final finishing order will be, I don't know. I actually think there looked like there was a very good chance the Czechs could end up coming second despite having lost already. I think it's France are the clear favourites to top it, and then it looks like it's a bit of a fight for that second and third spot between Germany, Czech Republic, and the Swiss. And Swiss beat Czech Republic, have played both. They've beaten Germany on Universe and lost to the Swiss on Universe. So it's all kind of going to be, in my opinion, is likely to be decided by the Swiss-Germany game.
And Israel give up their first break opportunity now. The Swiss O-line go route one. Oh, and another sensational grab. Spellbinding stuff from Switzerland. They answer back with a big layout of their own.
Yeah, it's a lot of confidence to make those grabs. I often prefer to see people run them down, but running down this doesn't get highlights. Making the layout grabs with one hand, good technique as well. Really nice grab, and again, the Swiss offense looking pretty clinical, and maybe the Israeli defense is going to need to try something a bit different to create a bit more pressure. They don't seem to be having the same success I feel they've had on defense in some of their previous games, and maybe it's a bit of legs because they did have a tough game already today. So this is their second game of the day, so it could just be a case of legs. And
Fred Pullmeyer taking flight. Let's get a look at the Swiss Airlines there. He'll be happy with that one. So that was the first break opportunity there actually for Israel. They had an opportunity, and the opportunity didn't last very long, and then Switzerland just first pass looking to send it.
I believe it's 4-2 now. I'm struggling to see our scoreboard. I believe it's 4-2, I think. Hopefully that's correct.
You are correct, John. So Israel back on offense. Down a break. This is a bit more aggressive from Switzerland defense, and as you can see, Israel looking to move it fast and attack the break side. That's where a lot of their offensive flow comes from. Getting high in the stalker now. Not much options. Has to go for the reset. Gets a nice undercut laid on from Thomas Moyle.
Usually when I'm seeing stall counts on streams lately, I usually feel they were fast. That one, even when you said it, I turned and looked. As you were saying, it feels like it's been a while, so maybe an honest stall count there as opposed to a fast one. Not sure exactly. I didn't see it when he first caught it, but it did seem like he had it for a while there, and it did seem like the Swiss player was taking his time making that call as well. He wasn't rushing it, so. And as we know, Swiss famous for keeping good time, so we're gonna have to trust him that he believes it was and that he wasn't fast counting, but whether the thrower had it out or not is another thing.
Is his timing as good as the Swiss clock, or is this retracted anyway?
Retracted. I think the coach on the sideline might have offered some advice to him there.
It did seem like a long time. I'd maybe presumed it'd been a marking infraction or something of that kind. And again, Israel have 1-on-1 matchups downfield and are hesitant to throw the hook. And you can see every time Switzerland get a block, there's an emphatic celebration from the sideline. Setting up in a vertical stack now, trying to get straight off the line. Vogel runs a give-go. That one, two Swiss players in the same area, and textbook offense as it's fumbled and not collected. Looked like a beautiful possession from Switzerland.
Yeah, just so clean looking, really nice. That would have been a highlight dump swing if ever you were going to have one. And unfortunately for the receiver, he's unable to hold on to it and not able to make the second bid. So Israel going to get another chance here.
Going to have to go up the entirety of the field. Coming out in a horizontal stack. Israel. Nice undercut to start things off. You can see Switzerland do have a height advantage on many of the matchups. Swiss kind of famed for their big ball ultimate for the last few years and generations, and I think you can say the same about this group of young men. And Israel, they do well to keep possession, but gaining big yards is something they're struggling with. Dangerous pass. Bit of confusion about where that one was going. So another break opportunity for Switzerland. We see this deep first stack set up again, and they look to initiate from the handlers and straight away. And it's almost a deja vu situation from their last possession. And just coast to coast, yes, again. Very handler driven, this end zone offense from Switzerland. Having to go back now. Now you see again the great give go. Israel scrambling to keep them out. I think Israel recognizing that they're playing a lot through the handlers, and again can't find the finishing touches. Switzerland. Not sure what he was trying there.
Yeah, I think he was trying to hit his tall receiver. I don't think it mattered how tall he was. He wasn't going pulling that one off. And a bit of frustration by the Swiss there. Maybe they feel like they've been near the end zone for a while, and sometimes, obviously with juniors, sometimes maybe we say not a lack of experience, but more just a bit of youthful excitement and just very ambitious throw. It'll be a very difficult one to catch with a trailing edge pulling away from the receiver as well. So Israel going to get another chance here, and they're probably going to want to try and get this one soon because they've been out there for a while now, and it's going to start getting tough very soon. I think Switzerland doing the match defense is the right decision. It's going to pay off if they've been following the Israeli game so far.
Israel inside the pressure cooker now. Switzerland asking questions of the team in blue. It just looks like they're going nowhere fast now with Sahar Al-Ali. And again, suffocating defense from Switzerland. They're coming really tight. They're just not really biting on any of the deep cuts from. There it is. You feel like they have to try it. That one beautifully teased downfield. Was waiting for it to happen because they've had cutters going deep and no one was willing to throw it. Eventually they sent it halfway down the field, and I think that's good, John. The hooks don't have to necessarily be full length. You can just set up that mid-length hook. A little more easy to execute.
Yeah, and they've looked off a couple of them as well, and you have to remember they were stuck near the back of their own end zone there, so it's like I said, if they've had some tough results on paper, but they're well capable of playing, and I think many teams at junior level there, when their handler gets the disc, he's just thinking, we just got to get it out of here, but not here. The Israelis happy to work it, and beautiful flick hook to just lead his receiver into space, and now they're going from a spot where they're defending their own end zone with their lives to being able to just try and have a chance to, after this stoppage here, to just try and slot in an offensive hole. So much needed one, and perhaps the pause and play going to suit them a little bit here. Obviously a player down injured, we'd like hopefully he gets back up and is able to continue, but
Sahar Al-Ali on the ground, the man living in Tel Aviv, hoping he's okay.
Yeah, and there's been good intensity about them as well, so probably a combination of an injury and you're tired. It's like, if we can get off here, it's not bad to get someone else on there, so hopefully he'll be okay anyway, limping off.
So Israel sub in and get going again. They've been doing a bit better when they get to this part of the field. Kaplan, ambitious crossfield throw, testing out the Swiss defense, but you felt like they were always going to eat that one up.
Yeah, the following second defender coming in there as well. It was similar to the kind of the throw that the Swiss had in the last point, just maybe more catchable than that one, but just drifting away from the receiver.
comes the big man. He's had 1 or 2 turnovers right at this point. Damian. Now with Vulgar. Goes to the high release flick, and that was money. Playing with steez out here, the Swiss team. You don't see too many of those high release forehands that distance.
No, and that's a tough one to take for the Israelis as well. They were stuck in their end zone. They get it up to the other end zone. They overthrow the receiver, and a couple of passes later, the Swiss go down and get a break. And now they're up 5-2 now, and perhaps the timeout might be needed by Israel here to try and just take a moment to recover and regain the focus and get going again. And looks like they might be taking a timeout here. So
the high, lofty throws proving dividend for Switzerland. And playing with a bit of swagger out there, the Swiss side. Let's see what Israel do here. I think they have to be a bit more brave with their throws, Switzerland. With those hawks in at the end zone, I think then they can start running their handler weaves and sets. But I think Switzerland kind of asking the questions of Israel. Can you make the difficult throws? Can you get the hawks? Can you throw the hammers? And it's not really their style of play.
Yeah, but it isn't. But I feel in some of the games I've seen them play again, I feel like I've seen every first half of them, and I've thought like they're looking really good. And then I just end up seeing the final scoreline, and I would say this is a bit typical of what their games have been like so far, maybe, except just a bit unfortunate to be down the extra point or two here. Like it's been competitive. The Swiss offense has looked good, but it's not been a case of they get the disc and they score the break. The Israeli defense is, especially from their O-line, it's pretty intense, and like I said, it's tough to keep that going the whole time. So maybe the injury combined with the timeout here, time to refocus, and again, always about trying to go again when they're getting broken. So let's see if here with a proper stoppage they get a chance to do it. They're going to be playing slightly downwind on this point as well. So this one, it feels a bit of an important point. I feel if Israel can get this, they can keep in the game. But if the Swiss were to score this one, it could turn into a bit of a very one-sided game a bit quickly. So from a neutral's point of view, you'd like to see the Israelis being able to slot this one in and get back on the scoreboard and keep this game close.
Well, surely your neutral point of view would be the Swiss point of view, because they're the neutrals, right?
Yeah. But they're neutrals, so they would automatically want the closer game for more viewers for the sport rather than in their own self-interests. So, well, yeah.
This has been an enjoyable one to watch for all the neutral fans.
Yeah.
So, the time for Israel to reset and maybe adjust their tactics a little bit. And Switzerland have been good with their pulls so far. Timo Zimmerman giving the honors on this occasion. Let's see if Israel make any tactical adjustments. They're staying with the horizontal stack anyway. And Switzerland going back to that soft passive zone, which I think is kind of suiting Israel's style, to be honest. I think they're happy to take lots of short passes. I think it's when Switzerland have played them tight that they've struggled. Halfon.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'm not really a fan of coming out with the zone here. Obviously now they'll end up turning over straight away and it'll look silly, but I feel like they were getting the pressure on and tiring out the Israeli line, and if they've watched the previous games they would know just running them is what matters, and like you said, this just suits Israel in my opinion.
Nice around pass. There was a deep option there, but Halfon is one of the few players that looks to be really looking behind the zone. Now with Barnes. Ofik Barnes in the handler set now. It looks like could be transitioning here, Switzerland. I know there was a push or a heave or what chant they're doing, but it was the call to switch to a more aggressive match defense. Going forced backhand as well. put pressure on the reset. Coming in right behind is Italiano, and Israel do well to expose the mark. Now going all the way around the house. That's a dangerous throw and can't latch onto that one.
Just overthrown his receiver. I initially thought it was a different one, and then it looked good, and he's just unable to get it. And one thing I've seen with the Israelis, they're willing to put their bodies on the line to try and make those grabs, but that one would have been pretty insane if he was able to come down with that with his left hand.
When a Swiss team go tight, they are really applying pressure on Israel. You feel like they're going to get turns. Nice release cut from Zimmerman. Pick called.
Yeah, the wind picked up a small bit now, favouring the Israeli defence here a little bit, but again, yesterday it was a little windy for the Swiss playing against the Czechs, and they dealt with it. So potentially a good chance for Israel to push in here and apply some pressure while they just have that extra bit of help on defence and potentially save themselves having to do so much running.
Slow getting this one back in. There's been some unnecessary long stoppages in this game, but we're back in action now. Nice up the line cut from Italiano. Goes for the ambitious hammer cross field. They're so good at that. This is a lofty ball. It's going to be hotly contested, but well read for Switzerland. And that is Finn Hummelt getting it done. You feel like when they throw it high, the Swiss lads are coming down with it.
I think Finn there, I believe he plays with free speed, so he's not going to be short of experience under deep throws there. And defender did a decent job to put the pressure on. He just went up a bit too early, and the Swiss player just realised probably that the player's gone up early and he has time to get it on the way down. So just one of those things that can be a bit unfortunate for the defender. He was in the right place, and those are the breaks, they say. Bit of a somewhat worrying sign, I guess, as well, as I was saying on the last one. I felt if the Swiss were able to get that one, it puts Israel into a tough spot. They haven't really been in this kind of a situation so far, I don't think. I know they've already played France, who are a bit of a powerhouse at this tournament, but I think it was maybe about half an hour into the game and there was only like 3 or 4 scores in total, whereas in this one where
I think it's 6-2. I believe the score is 6-2.
Yeah, I think it's, unless it's 7, it's definitely they've definitely gotten at least 6, I believe, anyway.
Still trying to figure out why the chimney is in the background of this field. Any ideas?
I believe in the last game we were told it was a, I'm just going to say it's a sugar chimney, apparently. Some sugar chimney. I'm sure it was explained much better by someone who knew what they were talking about, but I'm just going to say it's the sugar chimney. There's a mountain of sugar inside there, just waiting to be taken.
Let's see what is going to do. Pointing towards the end zone. Don't really see him throwing it though in that direction. Again, changing up the look. Switzerland much more aggressive now in defense. Back with Edry. In high in the stalk, and again they've been high a couple of times, and that throw is not on the same page.
Yeah, Israel just really struggling to play what I've seen them play before. This is more what I've seen when they're tired in their previous games, and it's happening a bit too early for them in this game for I'm sure what they would have hoped.
And in contrast, Switzerland moving the ball with ease, nearly always having someone open, staying patient, but there is further shots downfield. There we see it. That one is sugar-coated. Brilliant stuff from Schmitz to run that one down, but complete contrast. When Switzerland have the disc, there's players and acres of space, 4 or 5 yards of separation. Israel, when they're in possession, they're under a lot of pressure, a lot of coverage sacks, a lot of really good defense to take away options.
Yeah, I think a bit of it as well is just the size of the coaching staff for the Swiss. They have offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, game strategist. I'm sure they've had plenty of time to watch the games and seen what needs to be done in these ones. So again, I believe it's the second timeout being called there. And this one, if the Swiss can come out here and get a break, it would be to take half. Maybe not a timeout, actually. It looked like all the teams were coming in, so I think they're going to.
And the score is 7-2.
Yeah, I believe the score is 7-2 now, so.
Double check with our volunteers, but.
Yeah, the scoreboard and the stream appear to be different. Looks like the volunteers at field side have the right score. I think it's just. I just think it's taken a little bit longer for it to go through on the official score.
So we got confirmation. It is 7-2, so a chance for Switzerland to break for half here. Again, sending out a strong line, and I feel like Israel need to get this one to stay in the game, you know?
Yeah, I think just for their own confidence, just to, even if maybe they might feel it's a bit of a tall ask to stay in it, just from what I've seen so far, they don't really deserve to be on the end of a 8-2 halftime score against probably any teams at this tournament. And just the last game, I think they made the big push late against the Czechs. It wasn't enough to come back, but it's the first game where they've had a game that I would say was like intense from start to finish, and now they're coming into potentially playing currently the second best team in the group in the Swiss, who've had some really tough games already and are with a deeper squad. They're going to be more conditioned for this, so everything kind of favouring the Swiss at the moment.
And have the Shays as the handler space there and like sagging the lane, and there's a massive wingspan. They try to go over him, there's no going over him.
Yeah, it's an ambitious one.
And an incredible way to take half. The big man foils the Israeli plans, just shuts the window on him.
Yeah, I think that one kind of sums up maybe the fortune of Israel in this game. Just a quick turn and one pass later, score, and that's half. 8-2. Dominant performance by the Swiss. Definitely the best they've looked so far, and potentially I would say maybe unfortunate for the Israelis that on this stream that maybe this is maybe their least impressive half of Ultimate so far.
And Kale, Shays, I like that when you're playing that kind of zony look, having some tall players in the handler mark positions and just getting in the way. And often you'll see maybe in match defense if a small nippy person marking handlers, but I think in a zone you can afford to have big bodies in there and just standing tall. And it was very ambitious for Israel to try and throw over the big man. Yeah. And we're going to go to halftime here, folks, as Switzerland in the lead now, 8-2 up on Israel. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back to the European Youth Ultimate Championships, coming to you live from Slovakia, let's call it. A beautiful sunny day here. Liam Grant alongside John Doherty in this open division matchup. Switzerland with a commanding lead over Israel. Really impressive first half from Switzerland. What's your thoughts on the first half, John?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a tough one for the Israelis. I would say this is the best the Swiss have looked, and it's the worst the Israelis have looked in their 2 and 3 games respectively so far this tournament. Swiss are going to be trying to win this by a big margin. I believe in the case of some weird three-way ties with the German, Czech and Swiss situation, it might come down to points scored against Israel and against France. So I don't think teams are going to be too confident of scoring a lot of points against the French. So I know the Germans, the record to beat is if you can keep Israel below 7. That would be an amazing result for the Swiss in terms of any potential three-way ties that might come up later. So I don't see them easing off. I think they're going to keep pushing hard and try and make sure that if there's some three-way tie situation that they can come out on the top of it on points difference if it's the three ways tied on the same points as well. So, and then for Israel, I think it's just a case of, okay, maybe it's not super realistic to come back from this much, but you're not going to want to you're going to want to improve. You know you're capable of better. The conditions are tough. You don't get to play that many Euros. You don't get to play these events that often. You don't get to play this level of opposition that often. You're not going to want to waste the moment kind of feeling maybe sorry for yourself. So still plenty of opportunities for players to make big plays and take a lot away from this game going into future games.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity to just grow and improve as the tournament goes on and as your ultimate career goes on. Regardless of these junior tournaments, I think it's a lot about developing the sport in your nation. And aggressive bid there. Looks like there might be a call. Came flying through the gates.
Yeah, it looked like a close one. I think maybe the defender got there, but obviously the Israeli player ends up on the ground, and I don't think he was diving for the disc. So whatever way you look at it, sometimes if a player ends up on the disc after the play, there's always it's always reasonable to at least consider the call, and then it's just up to the players whether they decide it's too much. Some teams, they're happy to let it go, and some want to call it. So I think the call is fair.
Looks like this is going to be accepted foul, so Israel retain possession now at Ben Shalom. Gets it moving to Baranoy, and there's a deep shot. This one has a lot of zip in it. Can he get there? A gratuitous layout.
Larkin Murray-esque if he's out there listening. Yeah, too much zip on that throw. If he ran that down, he shouldn't be here. He should be in the Olympics. So.
And Israel's deep game just not as good as Swiss, has to be said, in this game. I think Switzerland realizing that and kind of asking them, hey, can you send it deep? We're taller. You're going to have to be very accurate with those throws. So trying to be low and zippy there. Yeah. Israel with that pass, but just too much on it.
They haven't had too many chances to shoot deep either. I think maybe a bit of overexcitement. They just want to get a score on the board. It's been a while. You see an opportunity, it's hard to look it off.
Nice set play there. The sweep across from Switzerland. It goes straight into a big backhand hawk, and just too big right now, the Swiss side. That set play from the D-line coming up trumps as we see that beautiful shot to David Zieglansberger.
Yeah.
Bit of a mouthful, that one.
I believe yesterday when I was going through all the player notes of the entire tour, I believe yesterday, when I was checking the height of all the players at the tournament, that I did my sort by A to Z, and I think he potentially is the tallest player at the tournament. In terms of, can't remember, everyone submitted their height in different ways. There was centimeters, there was feet and inches, there was all sorts of measurements coming in, but he was on top of one of them, and looking at him there, he's maybe on top of all of them. He's a big unit, as we like to say, and
yeah,
no wonder they were happy to shoot it deep to him. And again, it's kind of just a bit too easy in some ways for the Swiss there, but sometimes there's only so much you can do on defense as well. Like the Swiss, I think I always consider the Swiss as a deep game team from when I first started playing, so it makes sense that they're going to be good at that. And obviously if you're in Israel and you're playing more of a kind of a small ball style of play, you don't get to play teams that have such an effective deep game as often either. So it's not just up against a new a style that you don't play, it's playing against the style that you don't get as many reps playing against. even though it's potentially surprising to say that as junior division, because when I first started coaching juniors, it was basically you were the exception if you had players who could play the disc, and now it's almost the exception if you're the team that has to rely on only one style of play.
David Siegelgensberger coming out of St. Gallen, the tall man you're talking about. And that was a set play from Switzerland, just 2 clear out, 1 cutter flashes across, and kind of able to carry that momentum towards the break side, and just a tough drop for Israel. Yeah, we're going to see a couple of looks at the Swiss playbook here, and a little lofty throw trying to catch them off guard, and miscue.
Yeah, 2 Swiss players missing it, so Israel, they're lucky to get that one back. I think it might have been a drop pull, I'm not sure how they turned, but
looking to go deep straight away here. And that looked like a good throw, and just perhaps a misread. Definitely not misread by the Swiss, though. And you can see all of them wanting to stretch it deep. You have to bite on it. That's a low throw. But good in the end. And again, an old buttery biscuit floating towards the end zone. And there's no stopping these Swiss boys when they take off deep.
yeah, they had their choice of receivers on that one. 2 players wide open, streaking deep, and everything's going the Swiss way right now. And
Nino Stauffer, the 17-year-old from Bern, happy to stretch the legs out there. And you can see that deep shot I thought was good from Israel, but maybe a little misread. I just think they're not as experienced doing it. They're not hucking probably as much as a team, whether that's throwing it or chasing it down. It just feels like they're a little less comfortable that aspect, while in sharp contrast, Switzerland love it. They seem so good at executing the deep throws and also getting underneath them.
yeah, I think the one player that's been putting them is a half front. He's had 2 really huge flick hooks, and I think both of them he's potentially unlucky that his teammate maybe wasn't able to either read it or hold on to them. So he does look the most likely player to throw one of those. It's just that time, I think, like you said, the receiver maybe just misread it, or maybe just a bit fed up with the Swiss guys seeming to get everything. He probably felt he just had to get in there and attack it first, otherwise he wasn't going to be able to get a first bid. The worst thing you can do is wait too long and let the other team get the disc. So sometimes just going to try attack it early if you're unsure is the best approach, and unfortunate for him there that it was a bit of a slight misread.
Israel feeling the pressure here in the evening sun in Trnava, Slovakia. Fantastic facilities here, actually. Really impressed with the tournament so far. Shout out to the EUF and Nemo and everyone involved in putting together this great event. And we see again, Israel has spent a lot of time throwing the disc around their own end zone this game, and it's not where you really want to be. Deep shot is maybe there, has to go to full length. That one just too low. Picked off with style yet again. And now teasing it up. Oh, the greatest attempt! That would have been spectacular if executed. Not sure if he was ready for it. It was a good greatest.
Yeah, it was coming back in, just second receiver unable to hold on to, but finally something not going the way of the Swiss, perhaps.
That would have been a real noteworthy moment, and Switzerland love their flair. Again, they've ended up back in their own end zone again. Dorsalan gesticulating deep, but don't really think it's happening. And there it is, a Callahan for Switzerland. The pressure was mounting, and eventually you could smell it coming, John. A fantastic Callahan.
Yeah, and as frustrating as it is for Israel right now, like, I know it sounds silly to say it after Callahan, but I at least want to give credit to them for sticking to what they're trying to do. Like I've said before, I'd expect in junior divisions when teams get stuck with the disc there that sometimes they're just looking to get rid of it, and Israel want to try and play their game. They're not just resolving to, hey, let's just try and send it because things aren't going our way. They're sticking to their game, and the pressure has been there all along. And like I said, a missed greatest in the last point, and then they come out in the next point and they get the Callahan. It's It's a tough one, and perhaps maybe I discredited the Swiss a bit too much yesterday from thinking maybe they were a bit fortunate to end up coming back and beating the Czechs, but maybe they're a bit better than what they looked yesterday.
The 16-year-old Tim Roher getting that Callahan, and like a shark in the water, gets smell blood and gets it done for Switzerland. But I thought it was real good team defense as well. I thought they're putting a lot of pressure on them surrounding people, taking away options, and got to credit the whole 7 players on defense on that situation. Kind of turning into a tough day at the office for Israel. There's potential for this game to be a little bit closer, but Swiss dominating the deep game, dominating the air.
Yeah, and it's the 4th game for Israel as well, and the intensity they've been playing in every game, it eventually adds up. Another huge play by Halfron.
Again, not a bad look, and it just can't come down with that one.
We're going to give him the credit for that one, uncontested foul. Like I've said, he's been the guy with the flick hooks. Huge flick hooks every time, and he's been making good decisions. He hasn't been just throwing them for no reason. Every time it's been a good option, in my opinion.
Itamar. Kaplan getting high in the stall count, being aggressive on the mark. Switzerland, another dangerous high throw, and that goes over the top of everyone. Doing a bit of sweeping up of the trash, and you feel like most of the time when Israel throw it high in the air, it's Switzerland benefiting.
Yeah, Solan there, really high jump in it. In his notes, he has 40 kilometers. I guess that means he thinks he can run 40 kilometers an hour, and he got up big there, so perhaps he's selling the truth. Unfortunately, he couldn't come down with that. That would have been an absolutely massive highlight grab.
Sasha Koch moves it wide. Jacob Salzman takes the reset back to Sasha Koch. Good switching down the field, but eventually there's some blown coverage. Gives the easy under to Yannick. Now moon ball. Oh, it looked like Switzerland read it well. Perhaps it was drifting out of bounds anyway.
Yeah, hard to tell from here. He did a good job reading it, defensive pressure, and wasn't able to get near it. And really nicely weighted throw. I thought he was trying to put it a bit more out to the side, but I could see that hook coming very early. And Israel mixed team here on the sideline, keeping the energy high, both for themselves for their next game, and I'm sure for their countrymen here.
Have a way to go here, Israel. And a dangerous throw, but it's going to work. You're going to ping it to the break side. Thinks about the deep shot, but nice manipulation of the mark there. Kaplan sends it. It's arcing. Oh, it's tipped in the air. That might favor Israel. They get it on the continuation. Loses his hat, but keeps the disc. Fantastic for Israel, and an emphatic spike.
Yeah, a little bit of a push in the back there as he was catching that. I'm not sure. Don't think it was anything malicious, but understandable spike. I thought the push, it looked like a bit of a nudge after he had caught it, but great follow-up play to get that second grab. I think he was the player actually under the last one who just missed out. So third time of asking, I guess. This time he manages to pull it down. So
yeah, Shiloh Solan. Shiloh the Giver, they call him.
9 years experience at 17. Playing over half his life, if that's true. Insane. Insane.
Did well to run that one down. Got a second bite of the cherry and found his way into the end zone. So that's Israel's third goal of the game.
Yeah, I think I was saying in the last stream how on yesterday's games, it was first round or two, nobody was even getting close to 7 points. Israel were the first team to get above 6 points as a losing team at this tournament, so I'm sure they'll be able to do slightly better in this game, but they get their chance now. They haven't been on defense for a while, so let's see what look they come out with to try and slow down the Swiss offense, which has had plenty of reps, but not as an O-line. They haven't been on for a while, so.
Yeah, I think the O-line only has one turnover so far this game, Switzerland. Have looked pretty clean at times. Some good switching downfield. Not a dangerous throw. Could go anywhere. Got it on the second attempt. It looks to rifle one cross field. Incredible layout grab. Tumbling into the end zone. Israel had an opportunity, couldn't get it, and then Switzerland strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, I mean, you can't come closer to a turnover there if you're Israel. Players under the disc, fumble on the second catch, then massive two-handed layout, like kind of on the harder side. I would say if he's right-handed, that's the harder one to catch. It's like a trailing edge catch with two hands, and he holds onto it. And just big play after big play. Everything's going the Swiss way, and it is deserved as well. They've played really well. It's not just a case of one team just not showing up. The Swiss have played really well, like you said. Potentially only one O-line turnover so far, and there's not much you can do. Even if Israel were near perfect so far, it would still not be changing the outcome of this game potentially. So
Switzerland tumbling towards victory here. A little unorthodox layout, but got his hands on it. And again, you feel like Switzerland may be getting away with a little bit of a deep ball and high balls here in this game. They just tend to come down them, but if they're playing the likes of Germany, France, later on in the tournament, you're not going to get away with sky balls against maybe some of the taller Northern European teams.
Yeah, I would also say they have shown that they can do the unders as well, and they've perhaps looked a bit cleaner on the unders. So you could potentially look at it from an Israeli point of view. You've at least got Switzerland throwing more contested throws now. At the start of the game, it just looks super easy for the Swiss. So as much as the scoreline's really one-sided, the Israelis are getting a lot closer to more blocks, I feel.
Here goes another deep shot. Again, hotly contested.
Just unable to get it.
Bulger hits the under. Staying a bit more patient now, Switzerland. Beautiful handler movement, going up line and then hitting the brakes to create that inside channel. And they're picking this Israeli defense apart. There's the high release flick. We've seen that before. Will it work this time? Yes, it will. Sasha Koch running it down, extending their lead.
Yeah, a really nice throw out into space. Such a difficult throw. It doesn't matter how good the conditions are, and runs it down, and Swiss just making it look easy now. And very, very tough spot for Israel here. Just to keep the energy going. They're one of the most energetic teams here at this event. They're always hyped, and seeing them like this, it's just one of those where it's just one game too many having a tough result like this. So.
Liam Grant alongside John Dock for the call. You've been enjoying your time here in Slovakia so far, John?
Yeah, it's a nice place. I haven't had to travel too many times to events like this where I'm not directly involved with a team. I don't even really feel that attached to any of the teams here. I've coached a couple of players on some of the Czech teams a little bit, but I'm hoping they do well. But it's my first essentially baby free weekend also as a commentator, so I'm actually more tired now than I am when I'm getting kicked in the head by a sleeping 2-year-old. So it's kind of funny, but I think it's those late nights and people arriving in.
If you want, Doc, I'll kick you in the head. It'll make you feel better.
Maybe he's just concussing me without knowing. Who knows? But he's out there. So hello, Aaron, if you're listening. To Daddy on the stream.
Is Aaron 2 now?
Aaron's more than 2 now. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
It won't be long now. He'll be in the under 17s.
Yeah, it won't be long. Yeah, he's already talking back to me as well, and he's already refusing to take instructions. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to coach him Can't really deal with people who don't want to listen.
Well, comes from two parents that don't listen, so
Yeah. So that means two negatives cancel each other out,
Yeah,
unless you
yeah.
consider them positives, and then it's still a positive, right? So whatever way it works out, he has to listen.
now with Baranoy, the captain of this Israeli team, he's just 16 years old. See, he wants to throw it. Now this one could be perfect. Fantastic from Israel. Kaplan takes that one down. That was brilliant from Baranoy. I like that little shallower stack, and just they have to be able to take that shot in this game. Switzerland have been kind of baiting those a little bit, and you have to be able to execute those shots. It's not that windy here today. Got to be brave. Should be a relatively easy throw for the captain, and took a double fake to get it done.
Yeah, and he maintained good focus there as well. There was a bit of defensive pressure, and he just makes sure they grab to secure it. So good to see that they're capable of those deep shots and securing them. So let's see now if they can get a break. I don't think they haven't had a break yet. All their scores, I think, have been offensive holds. So let's see if they can finish with take something away from it. They've struggled all game to even get turns. Let's see if I imagine they want to push hard to try and finish with a break.
We're likely to see many of these players at the World Junior Championships, which will be in Logroño in Spain next year.
Is it confirmed as there? Yeah.
I don't know if it's announced publicly, but I'm announcing it here. So I think they might have asked me to run it actually a year ago or something like that, and I said I was too busy. But I think it's going to be in Logroño, Spain. Unfortunately, not much grass in Spain. Nice interception from Israel. This could potentially be their first break of the game. I think they've only had two break opportunities, this being the second.
Yeah, and they've probably got one of their. I don't know if it's the man they want in front of the end zone with the disc, but they've got someone who can definitely get it to the end zone from nearly any area of the field with the flicks. So I imagine if he sees a shot, he's going to be someone here. Halfran going to be happy to take a shot if he gets the opportunity.
Guy Halfan with eyes for the end zone. Not a lot of options. Fakes the hammer. Takes the right option and just going for the reset. Levi tees one out. And that is a break for Israel, the first of the game. A nice little passage there. They had their offensive line one score, pass on the hook and come out, get a short field turn, the interception, and punch it in. So nice to see them still giving it their all in this game.
Yeah, a good bit of energy as well. They needed that one. Maybe I don't know if it was what you say, and sometimes you say, oh, they deserved it or whatever, but they got their opportunity, they took the shot. They've been unlucky. I would say Swiss have had everything kind of work out for them that could work out for them. So in that sense, you could say they deserve something to go their way. And I think getting this break, it's deserved in the sense of how the game has gone and how the fortunes of each team have flowed during the game. So a positive for them to take away. Sometimes just knowing you can get a break against the team is especially at the end of the game. If this had come at the start of the game and they forget about it near the end, it doesn't mean maybe it's not as significant to them. But I'm sure anyone still watching the game at home on the streams is happy to see that they're going to keep it on going. And
so the score 13-4 now. I think we're going to reach 15 before we reach the time cap. And Switzerland a chance to hold here now. Spreading it wide. Again, that was another set play where they brought in that winger. Nice give-go action here. Bit of a zone here from Israel. I think it's the first time we've seen them come out in the zone. Maybe the second point. I think they tried to do one earlier and it Switzerland immediately scubered, but going for more traditional safer throws here. But you can see how the overhead is there, and often if you bait Switzerland to throw an overhead, they will, and a sky ball will be hotly contested, and takes the disc, rides the contact. And you see again Switzerland getting away with the sky balls because just bigger lads, they're very good at come down with it, as Fleuren Schmitz, another man from Bern, getting a clean hold in the end.
Yeah, so again, Swiss here with a chance to maybe get a break and take the game, and is really going to want to finish with another one. Again, talking to their coach before the game, he said a lot of these players are young and they're preparing mostly for Worlds next year. As you said, it's in Logroño, not sure how to pronounce it. And
Logroño.
Yeah.
You'll learn.
Yeah, he said that last year they were hopeful of maybe doing well at the EYUC, and without getting into too much about it, they obviously couldn't take part, so now they're rebuilding for the Worlds this year. And I know maybe, and again, this is me more just as a person rather than anyone related to EUF or anything like that. It's obviously some people like talk about teams here and what happened last year and all that, and a bit of how I look at it is people this age, like if things are going to work out more positively in the future anyway, it's going to be people this age. They're basically going to be the next like generation of people who have a chance to live through like less of the drama, shall we call it. And you know, I think it's good for these players to be here, not to feel like excluded from the tournaments. They're mostly children. There's people here who are like 15, and obviously maybe it's more I think about it more as like a father as well. It's just like you just want your kids to grow up and be in places where you're not worried about things or how they're going to be treated. So whatever your views on how it's all going, I think it's good that these players are here now, and hopefully they're enjoying it. Hopefully it's a positive experience, and for hopefully the better things to look forward to in the future in regards to that. So for everyone involved.
An exquisite pull from Switzerland yet again, but Israel doing well to get out of their end zone now. And now a deep shot. This one has a lot of zip. Now a chance for Switzerland to break for the win. Let's see what they set up. I see the vert stack, and I get a real feeling it's going to be a zipper play here. Something like that. I think Israel chatting ready. Yeah, they're going to set up a little coach look around it. And there's a zipper play, but Israel did well to adjust, surrounded that vert stack, stopped the pull play, and comes in around the corner, and it's going to be a clean block. Great defense there from Israel after stopping the pull play and then making the brilliant layout block, and that is the goal. They get another one on the board. This time it is Guy Co, as he's known to his friends.
Good finish to the game as well by them. I think is it potentially 2-1 in the last 3 points, is it? I think they've
had a little flurry here, and you maybe think Switzerland have kind of rested on their laurels a little bit.
Yeah, but again, as we said, with the points difference, I'm sure the Swiss coaches are, with so many coaching staff, I'm sure they're aware of the situations, and keeping Israel below 7 points it's almost like the EUCS season, where if they can keep them to 6, it basically makes it very hard for any weird three-way ties to not go in their favor if they can get the job done here. So this one is maybe for both teams. This is a bit of a big point. For the Swiss, it's maybe more meaningful than it might seem. And then for Israel, they're going to want to finish they're not going to want to finish this game yet. They're going to want to try and get another break. And they've got a bit of a breeze behind them here, a slight one. So see if he can launch a big pull here and put some pressure on in what could potentially be the last point.
So a chance to win this game with a clean hold. Let's see what Switzerland can do. Oh, a drop pull.
I could see him sizing up to catch it. I was like, this is a brave man catching this pull. It was coming in fast.
Yeah, a lot of angle on that. And looking into the sun as well, that might have made an impact.
Respect for anyone trying to catch those pulls also, though. Reminds me of Podge Sweeney.
And that is another break and another spike. I think that is Shiloh again, Shiloh Salan, and yeah, not giving up here in the latter stages of this game.
Yeah, and they've a bit of a jab to the gut there, the Swiss. Now if they can get one more, Swiss coaching staff might not even realise till after this game if they happen to go back and listen back, and they might not realise how significant that point or this potential point here might be.
Yeah, 2 breaks for Israel in the latter stages of this game, and feel gifted to them again, the drop pull, but it was very bladey coming in. It wasn't particularly deep pull. Perhaps could just let it roll and pick it up.
Yeah, he seemed like he was determined to catch it, and he had the hands out. And you know what? If you're not worried about the situation or the points difference, if there's ever a time to risk a drop pull, it's when you're up by this much. It's good confidence, especially in windier conditions. You're not going to want to let those discs potentially roll and go out the back. So I'm never really going to criticize a player for attempting to catch a pull unless it's something a bit crazy. I remember coaching a Irish under-24 mixed team before, a fella and maybe a LJ from Galway. We were debating whether we should put this guy in the team, and I was like, he's got potential, and someone said he's a bit of a headless chicken. Pull goes up and he tries to jump over a pull and he ends up kicking it. He made the team and had one of the best highlights at the tournament though, so you never know, maybe you want those kind of players. But
I remember LJ actually tried to catch our pull once, went chasing it down and then laid out to catch the pull from his own team, kind of forgetting what was happening.
I think you should be allowed Callahan your own pulls. I think that'd be a fun rule to bring in. Let's see here.
You're allowed to catch your own pull. Oh, there we see the zipper play again. Again, Israel had read it and surrounded a stack, so they throw it into traffic, and that's disappointing from Switzerland. They ran the pull play. Israel completely aware, left someone deep, and they just threw it straight into the deep player. And they answer back now.
Huge play.
Where was this from Israel earlier? Playing with confidence and swag. Looking for their 3rd break of the game. They were dead and buried for the first 80% of this game, but have come out kicking now. As soon as it became, it looked like it was done and dusted. Can they find the pass now? You can see really playing with confidence now in Switzerland. Trying to recover a timeout called. Interesting timeout call.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they said we might as well use it, have a little chat. It's near enough to the end zone to run an end zone play, so no harm in saying, hey, look. Or it could also just be a moment to say, hey, look, regardless of what way this potential final point goes, let's enjoy this moment, because they haven't been allowed all game except from the start and the finish. And I guess if you're going to say if there's 2 times to be allowed in a game, it would be at the start and the finish. So maybe they just want to take a little moment here and enjoy it, It's been a tough game for them, maybe a potentially tough day. So finish on a positive, try and get a score here and take it away more heads up going into the last few games, because it's felt like a bit of a long game for them here. And Swiss going to be wanting to keep them out though, knowing that any more scores on the scoreboard aren't going to be favourable to them. So again, significant point for both the teams.
Solan, Hagever going to be bringing it back in, coming out of Kafir Saba. Going to guess he's related to Shiloh Solan as well. Making an assumption there. You can see the Israelis are pumped up right now. Don't know where this energy was for all the other points of this game. As I said, last 10 minutes or so, just found another gear.
Yeah, and this is kind of a bit of what I kind of expected from them the whole way, kind of through the first half. So it's good that people are seeing I'm not just saying it, that they were capable of runs, and this is why I thought this game had the potential to be more competitive than it ended up being. But
so it is Steinberg with possession. Yuval Steinberg. Let's see what they draw up here. Looking like a vertical stack, which is an ISO straight in front of the disc. And Switzerland surrounding the stack that's remaining in the middle, maybe trying to help out that ISO, but not helping them all that much. There's a forced forehand there and having to go backwards straight away. Halfon with the big forehand fake.
get the vibe he's going to throw a hammer. I don't know why. Someone with a big flick hook is usually capable of throwing hammers, so he hasn't made one risky throw this game so far, but I feel he wants to finish with a hammer here. That's my outrageous prediction.
I think a bit of discussion about what the stall is, perhaps a marking infraction or violation. Is he getting tense now in the closing stages of this game? Like to see that energy. Guy Halfin tries to isolate a player. Two Swiss coming defense, and again climbing the ladder, coming down everything now. Israel, they were doing the opposite earlier, and the fans are pumped up. They're enjoying themselves. And where was this Israeli side early in the game? They're having a little jig there.
Halfan there, that was such a good throw into such a tight space by him there. He's been one of the main throwers in this game, giving them all senses of the opportunity to get the scores, and puts in another one there, just into such a tight area, and a massive grab by the receiver as well. And I think it was Ben Shalom, I think, with the grab there. And lots of big plays in this game by Israel, just most of them saved for the end. So again, I think they're going to finish this game with a much more positive vibe than they would have if this game had ended 10 minutes ago when the Swiss were near the end zone. So it's what you want. It's what you want to see. You don't want to see teams going away from a juniors game feeling like it was just a complete disaster. So
Ben Shalom, not the biggest man, but showed off his vertical jump there.
I was wrong about the hammer prediction, but I'm going to say that throw looked better.
Difficult to execute where you kind of outside end zone, you come short towards the disc and then turn and go back, and you're kind of attacking that back corner. Not a huge amount of room to work with, but well executed.
Another huge pull by him as well.
Wonder if they'll try and catch this one. They'll go at it again. That one is caught.
Respect.
A nice blade to continue momentum. Now with Baumgartner. And again, the scuba used effectively. And now with Paulmeyer. Using the width of the field there, finding the gaps. Kind of junky and switchy at times from Israel, but Switzerland making light work of it. Again, the scuba, the preferred weapon of choice, and that is the game winner. Clean hold for Switzerland. Israel fought hard and came back strong, but the Swiss just too good in the end. Nice clean hold with an exhibition of overheads. So congratulations to Switzerland.
Yeah, well, hopefully anyone who stayed around till the end of it anyway got a bit of a buzz off it. If you're one of the at home maybe supporting Israel watching the stream, you would like to see that they managed to finish like that and showed a bit more what they're capable of. They've been on a couple of streams so far. I'm sure people have seen them already, but they didn't fully show what they were capable of there until right at the end.
So congratulations, Switzerland. Well done, Israel as well. Put on a great show for us here on the live stream. We have still another round of action coming up, so don't go anywhere, folks. Thanks very much for watching us. We're going to leave it there, and stay tuned to EUF and our live stream production here at the European Youth Ultimate Championships 2025.